All right. Is it recording? Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm Arthur, working on find rotation point for my whiteboarding. All right. Went and bought a copy of Webster's English Dictionary. Wait, so it's once the end of the alphabet is reached, it circles around. First entry in the dictionary starts somewhere in the middle. Okay. Write a function, find rotation point, that perceives an array of words and calculates the index of the point where the rotation occurs. With the above list of words, your function would return 5. Okay. Give me a second to try to wrap this around my head.
Yeah, take your time.
Open reference. Return 5? Index of the point. We're looking for the rotation. So this is the 5th index. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where we're returning. So we're just looking for the index, not the word itself, as a return statement.
Right.
Then once the end of the alphabet is, what does it mean, end of the alphabet? So are we supposed to go through everything until we hit A, and then we go through everything again until we hit B, again until we hit C, D, E, all the way up to Z?
No, I think what it's saying that, like, notice that it starts in the middle with P, like
Mm-hmm.
just some, and then it goes to the end of the alphabet, meaning it hits the end at X, and then it starts back over at the beginning of the dictionary. Because like the real dictionary would be like it would have started at A, then B, then E, K, O, like this. It would have gone in alphabetical order. Then it went
Uh-huh.
P, R, S, U, X, like that
Uh-huh.
would have. But it got rotated at some random point, and
Um,
it happened to get rotated where this was the first half and this is the second half,
and that was
and
where it rotated. Okay.
it got rotated right. Yeah, yeah, it
Okay.
got rotated at the fifth point.
Oh boy. Okay. So we've got the function. Call it find rotation point. And we'll pass an array called alphabet through it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what do we want to do first? So we need to, so if we're iterating through an array, similar to the Bitcoin prices, we want to set our start point. Since this is going to be an iteration, we always want to have our default set to something. So we can say, so we'll call this constant word. No, that's already given. Constant constant dictionary, sure. Dictionary words
Okay.
equals, so the first index of this array. So that's our start. So we're going to need a for loop for this, right?
Yep.
Okay. Quit. Are we able to put this like on two papers, like one here and one here, like side by side?
Yeah, I think if you go to the let me see if I can do that.
I guess this
Oh,
is, like takes up the whole page, so it'd be nice to just have it on the side over here.
yeah. Mode, full screen. I guess the only way would be, or what if we said, no. How do we do that? You could drop it into another. No, that's not.
Oh, actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, that looks nicer. Right.
Yeah.
So there's our function, and we set our base default. We set our starting iteration. So then we want a for loop.
Yep. And maybe thinking about for a second, like, is there what is it? Is there anything about the pattern that the way that the letters are set up that allows you to see where that's happening based on what you're seeing?
Set
Uh,
see the pattern.
so like the fact that like the first the first set of letters are all alphabetical, and then the second set are also all alphabetical, and there's something different about the right around the rotation point that changes that you can look for. You can kind of look for something different that's happening in the in the first letter. Um,
Oh, I just I just realized that why that. Okay, okay. It's clicking. It's clicking.
okay, okay.
So these are all actual words. These are not actual words because they were messed up, right?
No, no. They actually they're all words.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
They're all words. But if we look at if you take a look at like the first letter of the of these and um, you can see that like I guess my question is like for the first one, two, three, four letters, four words. What's the pattern on the first letter of those four words? Do you
First
see any?
letter of PRS. They're in order, alphabetical order.
Or in alphabetical order. Okay, and then what about a the next that other set a asymptote Babka the one, two, three, four, five, six. What
Oh,
about
when it stops being in alphabetical order, that's when the rotation happens, and that's when it resets, so to speak.
yes? That's
Okay.
the
Okay.
that's the that's the key insight. So now it's kind of like you know what to look for, right? Like you have to look trying to think about how do I detect that difference when it's what you just said. It's like going in alphabetical order, and then suddenly it stops, and wherever it stops being in alphabetical order, that's where the rotation point is. So how do you know when something is uh, either in alphabetical order or not in alphabetical order? How do you know?
How do you know something? How do you know? If you
And
know
so
that
like
it, hmm.
and so I guess the first question would be like, do you even need the whole word, or do you just need the first letter?
Hmm. Just the first letter, honestly. Well,
Right.
first and second, maybe, if
Yeah.
at best.
Maybe.
Just the
Yeah.
first,
Maybe.
honestly. Just the first letter, really.
Just the first, because even if it's equal to, that's cool, right? Like if you get two B's in a row, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's not backwards, as long
Right.
as right. Like if you're in your for loop that you got, if you grab that first letter and you say, okay, is the next one after it? How do you check whether one letter is after the other?
I'm not sure.
It's kind of like it's kind of like numbers. How do you check when a number is after another number?
You iterate through it, right?
Yeah, you iterate through it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get the next number. But how do you know if one number is after it or greater than it?
How do you know that one is after it?
So like, how do you know? Like, how would you know that two is greater than one? I guess. Or two is greater than one. How would you know? You would compare them. You'd be like, hey, is
Yeah.
two greater than one?
Okay. So then I would need to.
If you for loop through and you check each word and you get the first letter and you say, hey, are you greater than the one after you? Be like, yes. Okay, cool. I'll move on to the next one. Are you greater than? Yes. All right, cool. And you just keep going until you find one that the next one's not greater. Then you're like, oh, I got to stop. I found where the break is.
Right. Okay. Okay. So then, all right. So we'll set up a for loop.
Yeah.
Equals 1, because we are already on the 0th here, so we're going to start at 1 here.
Okay.
And increment if alphabet is length. Okay. So if we're looping through, we're checking. Honestly, the rest doesn't matter, just the first letter really. So this could just be P. This array could just be PRSUX. And this be the same thing.
Yep.
So we have to check. Either way, we have to check the first string, or the first whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then we have to compare that to the next one, right?
Yeah.
So then we need a double loop.
No.
Actually, no way. It's similar to. Let me plug my headphones in there. Almost out of battery.
Okay, cool.
Right. So this is similar to what we had, where we could just do this in one loop. Okay. So
How do
these.
how do you get that first letter of a string?
So we can. Well, to get the first letter of the string, we need to find the current. We need to find the current index that we're on, and splice it.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could splice it. I think you can also like.
Can I Google something?
Yeah, go for
The
it.
math functions.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, in the case that what if these were numbers? But I mean, we'll probably use this. Okay.
Here's why don't you bring up the console? I want to ask. Have you put something into the console on this page. Just inspect the console on that JavaScript page. Just right click inspect, and in JavaScript, just click on console, and then just type in A greater than B. And before you hit enter, tell me what you think is going to happen.
It'll return true?
Actually, I'm sorry. That's going to be an error because it's not a string. Make those both a string. Yeah. A greater than B. Now, oh, it gives you the answer. Okay.
Wait. Oh, greater than. Okay, yeah. I was thinking. I had this in mind for a second.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. 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 So, in the case of that, so we want to find. Okay, so let's do that for simplicity's sake. So
Yeah.
we'll say let A equal something, and then because we're comparing we're comparing the letters, so we'll let B. I'll change this to something more specific in a second, just kind of brute forcing.
Yeah.
Equal to. So to compare A to B, A will be a default value, so we can give it 0. And then B can be. So we want to see. How do I compare it? So it'd be like A of. No. How do we get? That might be a bad way of looking at it.
Let me make sure I got something correct in my head for a second.
Sure.
I solved it like 2 weeks ago, but I was like, hold on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's do this. Let's go back to the console.
Sure.
And put in that first string. Like copy that first string in the array.
Mm-hmm.
And
just this one.
Yeah. And set it as a string, and then just delete the greater than B. And just set that to a variable. Like call that string some variable. Like string or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And I hit enter, and you'll get a string, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do I get the first letter of that string? Like, and it's just like an array. Like if I had an array, how would I get the first letter of an array? How would I get the first entry of an array?
Well, my best guess is splicing.
Nah, you don't need. I mean, you could splice, but like let's say you had an array. How would you get the first index of an array?
You just call the 0th index, right?
Yeah. So try that on the string.
So str of 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you can get the first letter of that word, right? To C.
Right.
And then after that, let's say you say on the next line, right? P greater than R.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like is, or I should say.
So this would be this. Just in this case, it would be is str is string of the 0th index greater than. whatever this variable will be.
Yeah.
Okay, on the 0th. I get it. I just can't think of a way to write it.
Yeah, no, you're almost there, man. You're almost there. So maybe so let's put it. You're going through the for loop. You can start the for loop at 0, and you can start by like saying, okay, I'm gonna why don't you just see like if you can. How would you get the first? The first a word in the array would be. How would you get the first one? How would you say? Give me the first word of the array. So like Potomac, it's an array. So how do I get that first index of that array? Not the index, but the first entry.
Well,
I have
that
to
would be words of 0, right?
words of 0. Yeah, words of 0. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Words of 0. And then how would I get the second one?
That'd be words of 1. So
Words of 1. And now we know that words of 0 and words of 1, those are both strings, right?
right.
So what if I wanted to get the first letter of that string? Like what we did in the
Wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Right?
There it is.
It's
There
been a
it
while
is.
since I've used this syntax.
There it is. There it
Right.
is. There it is. So now you got the first letter of
The first letter of the first word and the first letter of the second word.
yeah, and you have to ask yourself whether or not the second word is the first letter of the second word.
So I'm just gonna brute force code this real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not gonna make any sense, but
Okay.
so if this is greater than if this, so in this case this would be P, is P greater than, no, is R greater than P?
There
If,
it is.
let's do like a if conditional.
Yep.
If R is greater than P, then, so this will return true, right? Hold
Right,
on, which way does it look? Yeah. So this will return true.
right,
So then it'll continue iterating.
right. And just when it's not true.
So then it would increment again,
Yep.
and then I'm already turning this into Python real quick.
Yeah, right on.
In the case that it's not true, otherwise, return string. Return whatever the current words. So whatever current string we're on, or whatever current index we're on, right? Does that make sense?
Almost. So like you had the if, but all you what we're looking for, we don't want the whole world. We just want the index of where we're at. So and that's we have the index by I.
Right.
The I is keeping track. So right now you're saying,
there you go.
okay. But if we go back to the if statement, we're saying if words of 0 0 is less than words of 1, then keep going. Like that's the case I want to just keep going through the loop.
Right.
But and that'll keep going. But what if I check for when it should break? Like what if I check for when that it doesn't exist?
So if in the case that it doesn't exist, then you want to return the current index we're on, right?
Word up.
So then this is probably wrong.
Yeah.
We'll call this words of I. Wait, no. How do I tell a loop to continue looping? I forgot.
As long as it doesn't match what's in the if case, it'll just keep looping. So just as long as your if statement has to be the one that breaks it, meaning you come to the point where it goes X and then A, where the A is.
Are we able to do these in Python and not necessarily JavaScript? So if it was, it'd be like continue.
Yeah, right. And it would be just continue.
Yeah. But yeah, for this.
But you pretty much have it right there. You're like 99%. All you got to do is, instead of returning words of I, what should you return?
Well, if we're basing it off this, wouldn't it be returning?
Check out what it's asking for the return on this third paragraph, second paragraph from the bottom.
Oh, returning a number. So
it wants the index, right?
yeah.
So what's the thing that tracks the index in your for loop?
I.
I. You just want I.
Oh, there we go. All right, now how do I turn that into proper code? Okay. If I think just keeping it as words, right? Because that will be the constant anyways used for the test.
Yeah, you can keep it at words. Yep.
Oh, so I can technically just keep it as if this is conditional is not met, continue looping. That's the thing. What is?
So the return, you want maybe put the return inside the if statement.
Yeah. You know what? That's probably a good idea.
There you go. There you go.
Just delete this.
You can get rid of that first one too. You don't need that constant.
Yeah, don't need that anymore. Is it that simple though?
Pretty much.
Really? Is that it? I can't. That
I mean,
seems too.
there's a few things. I mean, like there's a few things. There's a few things going on. It's not. You're not almost there, but I mean, you're pretty much there. Pretty much.
All right.
So right now you're not incrementing through the list, right? Because
yeah.
it's all hard coded. So how would you make it go down the list? Right? Because right now you're just comparing. You're just doing one if, and then as the index is running. So the only thing is that you're just for every time you're going through the loop, you're comparing the first word with the second word, the first letter of the first word with the first letter of the second word.
Yeah.
But you want to move those two down, like.
Yeah, you want to keep iterating through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
something with one of those, like the zeros and the ones in the word.
So we would need a second for loop, right?
No second for loop needed.
Oh, no second for. I was thinking a second one where we could just start at 1, and that would loop through as well. Huh. Okay.
So what if you look at that? If you look at that if statement, if words 0, 0 less than words 1, 0.
Mm-hmm.
Which let's look at word 0, 0. When you got word 0, 0, what's the 2 zeros mean?
The first index of the first word of the first index of this array.
Right. And so how would I make it not be fixed at 0, but make it move down with the for loop?
So wouldn't that be I?
Yep.
And would this still be 1? It would, right?
That one.
We can't have them both as I.
Right. We can't have them both as I, but I want to check the one after.
It'll be I plus 1.
I plus 1.
Okay, there we go.
There it is.
There it is. All right. So we're checking the current one that we're iterating through, the first index of it. And if this if conditional is met, return I, and that's 5 in this case. Okay. Wow. Is that it? Is that it? I can't.
If A, and let me just make sure that if it's A is less than.
So this would be is P is R greater than P. No, it should be switched. It should be switched.
It should be switched. There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Mhm.
There you go. There you go. And now we're getting really close. Really close.
Mhm.
We're like 99% there. Now it's just one like one slight little thing. What's gonna happen when we get to the end?
Are you talking the end as in the fifth index or the end as in the end of the array? Because we're not going to get to the end, right? We stop here.
Right, right. And so, is there a worst case? Like, where's the worst place that the rotation could happen?
The little last stop.
Literally the last stop.
Mm-hmm.
And how would your loop react on the last stop? It might work, but just to think about it for a second.
Okay. So then it can be. So we want to give it an else conditional. But what do we want to say to it? So we want to say that if this isn't met, then we want.
Give me a second. I gotta check this.
Sure.
I don't think we got to worry about that case, man. I think what you got is before the else is fine. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah.
All right. Cool. I'll take it.
You got it. You got it.
Thank
That
you.
was good. That was
That was
really
good. I
good.
definitely wouldn't have got it. Like I said, would not have. Oh, let me stop the recording.